Hey, you're listening to Stop the Scroll, a social media marketing podcast, and I'm your host, Heidi Schmidt. I'm a social media strategist and agency owner with over 15 years of marketing experiences helping businesses grow online. We'll be diving into what you need to know so that you can show up confidently online without the overwhelm. Get your notebook ready to jot down some amazing marketing gems, and let's dive into it. Welcome back to another episode of Stop the Scroll. You know, it's funny because I always have these big plans, and this is completely irrelevant, but I hope you'll bear with me because I was going to talk about all these changes that Instagram has made recently, but then I was on this webinar yesterday and it was a total sales pitch, but I appreciated what she had said to start about how we need to lead with our values. And I hear this all the time. I work with a business coach and she's all about leading with values. And as we do that and as we market our businesses, we have to be mindful about where our marketing dollars are going. And she was all about diversifying, which I have recently talked to at length, ad nauseum, about diversifying our marketing, repurposing, all of that kind of stuff, because we cannot rely on social media solely to market our businesses. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to talk about Instagram. I know if you want to talk about Instagram, like I am more than happy to have a conversation about how Instagram is working right now, how you can audit your strategy, all that kind of fun stuff. I am happy to have those conversations. That's what my strategy sessions are for. If you want to have a conversation about Instagram, but there are social media managers that are a dime a dozen who are talking about all the changes about Instagram. And here's the thing, a lot of them are paid to do so. So they want to keep you on the platform. They want your money. They're not here for us. So just be mindful about that. That was my biggest takeaway from this webinar that I was on the other day. And it really resonated with me. So today, what I did want to talk about is my favorite tools for marketing. I get asked all the time, like, what tools do you use? And here's the thing. Tools are just that. They are tools. You don't need a big toolbox to get started marketing. You really don't. Like when I started freelancing, I literally used Canva. I used Buffer for scheduling, and I did my content calendars and like Google Sheets. So I did not use that much. And now I've got a bigger toolbox. I'm a little more advanced. I've grown up. You know, my agency has grown up a little bit here. So we're going to talk about what I use to market my agency and the tools that I think are valuable for small business owners. And we're going to start with the most basic. The most basic, you know, I'm all about email marketing these days, and there are tons of email tools out there. I personally use formerly known as ConvertKit, now used as Kit. I really like its integrations. I like the landing pages. I like that you can monetize it. I've grown my email list immensely through the creator network that they have. So I am all about Kit. I've had clients that use MailChimp and HubSpot. I've had clients who use Kajabi and Kartra. There are tons and tons of email platforms out there that you can use. I like Kit for the simplicity of it. I don't have to overthink it. I know a lot of people also like Flowdesk. I do like Flowdesk for its new integration with Honeybook that I want to play around with. I don't know if I'll stay on Kit forever, but for now I am. But Flowdesk does create some beautiful, beautiful emails. I'll give them that. As far as scheduling content goes, I use Loomly. I really am a visual person, and I like that Loomly, I can plan out in my calendar, and I'm sure there are other tools that do this also. Loomly is really good for me as an agency. If you're a solopreneur or someone who is doing it themselves, I might recommend Planoly, which I also really like. They also put out really great content and templates. Later is a leader in the industry, especially with Instagram. So they're a great tool. And like I said, when I first started freelancing, I was managing all of my clients on Buffer. Buffer, at some point, I realized didn't have the client approval tools that I wanted, which I really, really like about Loomly. It has all of that for me. A lot of social media managers talk about Metricool, but I've never used it, so I don't know. Again, there are tons out there. They all kind of do the same thing, but like it depends on how robust of a tool you want. I've also used Agorapulse. Again, I think that there are some tools out there, probably like Loomly, probably like the Agorapulses, definitely like the Sprout socials of the world that are really, really robust for what you may or may not need it for. So also, whatever's in your budget, like I think that the Planoly and the Loom and the later tools are a little more budget friendly for the solopreneur who's only managing their own accounts, whereas like the Loomly, the Agora Pulse, the Sprout Social are all much more expensive. One thing that I use now that I did not necessarily use when I first started is a video editor. And I really, really like Descript for video editing. I like that it can take long form video and turn it into short form video. I like that it has a really good AI program that can also churn out like YouTube descriptions, all that kind of fun stuff. And that just helps us work smarter, not harder, you know? So if I'm editing reels, I like CapCut. I've used InShot as well. InShot is great, but I find CapCut a little more fun and their templates are a little more fun. But, if TikTok goes away, CapCut goes away. So the two are one and the same. So be mindful about that. I will be eager to see in March the Instagram video editor competitor to CapCut. So be on the watch for that. I'll do a review of that once it comes out. I'm going to talk briefly about website platforms. I'm not a website expert. If you need one, I have one. I use Squarespace for my website. I've worked with everything from the HubSpot COS. I've used WordPress. I've used Wix. Squarespace is probably one of my user-friendly ones. It's also I really like that it's kind of all in one. I've had clients who do email marketing through it because it's simple. I like that I can do Acuity to schedule masterclasses, all that kind of fun stuff on there as well. So Squarespace is my go-to website. It's what I've recommended to clients. I've built for clients on Squarespace. I've managed Squarespace pages before. When I first started freelancing, I tried to be everything to everyone. And nowadays, I stay in my lane. I know where I am. I know what I'm doing. I don't try to veer too far from there. Websites are not my expertise. I don't try to manage them. I have one client that I manage a website for. She's a legacy client. I've been working with her for over a year, and she is absolutely lovely and not high demanding. And her website's Wix, which, for what it is, it's easy to manage. It's just Wix is not my favorite. And I think any website developer will tell you that also. As far as AI tools, there are so many out there. I use Claude and ChatGPT mostly for content creation and strategy work. I've played around with Jasper, which is really good at creating marketing content. Honestly, I haven't used AI too much for graphics. That's not really, I don't like AI for graphics. And the people that I've seen that use AI for graphics, you can tell that AI has created those graphics. And sometimes they're fun graphics, and I have no qualms with that. I think it's fine. But for me, AI graphics aren't really aligned with my brand in terms of authenticity. And that's why I really, really try hard when I do use AI to create content. It's very much more of a ideation. It's very much I use it to create ideas if I'm feeling uninspired, or I'll have it create a caption, I need to say this for these people. Help me. And then I just edit it down and because AI always churns out more than you actually need. So that's really what I use it for. As far as graphic design goes, since I don't really, like I said, I don't use AI for graphics much at all. I use Canva. I know there are people out there that are Adobe lovers. I haven't really been able to get into Adobe Express, which is kind of like Adobe's Canva competitor, I guess you could say. So I use Canva. One thing I don't love Canva for is their video editing. I am much more likely to use Descript or CapCut if I need to edit videos. InShot, if I'm not trying to use a template, InShot's kind of my go-to, but definitely Canva for anything graphic design related. It's just so, for me, it's user-friendly. If you find that it's not user-friendly, if you're an Adobe person, I would love to chat with you to understand what it is about Adobe Express that just has everyone swoony. As far as project management and calendar management, I am a project management tool junkie. I have used ClickUp. I have used Notion. I have used Trello. I'm sure there are other ones out there that I have probably used, but they did not stick. And this is probably my ADHD. Notion, I love as like the hub of all of my business information. I don't so much love it for my like day-to-day task management. I think that's more of a Trello thing for me. I'm still playing around with both. I definitely do keep a task list in Notion, and sometimes I go in and I check things off. But the thing that I really like about Notion is that I have found that it's really easy to, like, I have hubs of all of my client information, like everything from like Instagram Reels ideas that we want to record to their contracts. It's just so easy to share information in there with my team. So I really love Notion for that aspect. As far as like the tasky type stuff, I really kind of like Trello. I've used Trello before. In my agency days, we used Basecamp, but we've also used Trello. But I really like Trello for like being able to put a task in there under a client board or under a client, I don't even know what they're called, like the boards and then like the lists, I guess you could say. And so I can have all of my clients there in one visual space, and I can have all of the things that I'm working on for those clients, not including like the weekly content, because that's just the weekly content. And any content that needs to be created that comes to me through my clients, I just put it in Loomly and share anything with my team, either through Slack or through email, wherever it needs to go. So that's really where that lives. And small sidebar here, I don't know if you hear all the ruckus behind me, but we recently got 2 new kittens. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen them. And right now, because my son is virtual schooling in the room next to me and my husband's on meetings downstairs, my husband kicked them into my office. This is where they're kind of living because they're only like 11 weeks old. So they're rascally and they are loud and they keep jumping on the back of my chair and just good grief. Just trying to record a podcast, cats. So yeah, that's what I use for project management. Now, before this episode gets too long here, some tips about choosing the tools that you use for marketing your business. Whether you are a social media manager and you're growing your freelancing business, or whether you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur and you're expanding your marketing operations, whatever it is, tools only work so well as you use them. And I say this, for me, mostly geared towards Notion and Trello. But social tools only work so well as you use them. So like before I started using Descript, I was using another AI video editing tool and I couldn't figure it out. And I was like, this is dumb. I'm not using this. So figure out what works best for you, what you find user-friendly. What you find user-friendly might be different than what I find user-friendly. You know, tools only work so well as you use them. And on that note, you need to audit the tools that you actually use. Audit the tools that you use. Audit the memberships that you're a part of. Audit everything that is in your business. And this is kind of a basic financial 101. And, you know, I'm a part of a group and we have a bookkeeper a part of the group. And she has said, like, you need to audit your stuff. You're probably wasting money. And so every couple of months, usually like quarterly, like I audit the tools that I am using. Hey, am I using this too much? Can I downshift it? You know, I saved myself $100 on Notion because I was like, oh, I have old teammates in there who aren't working with me anymore. Like, why am I paying for them? You know, you need to audit your tools. Don't be swayed by shiny object syndrome. There's always going to be the latest and greatest. And if you follow any array of social media managers or content creators on Instagram, you are probably hearing about the latest and greatest tools, AI tools, social media management tools, whatever it is. There is always going to be something new and shiny out there. You know, for instance, I hear lots of social media managers talk about Metricool. And absolutely, I would love to try Metricool. However, for the past 2.5, almost 3 years, my clients have been on board with Loomly. Same with my team. Do I really want to take the time and energy to onboard everyone to a new tool? Probably not. We're stuck with Loomly. Like, I love Loomly though. It's great. They are always improving it. So it is what it is. If you see new tools out there, I tell my clients this all the time. Like, I test run things on myself before I recommend them to clients. If I am test running a video editing tool or something like that, I am going to try it on myself and my own content before I say, oh, hey, you want to edit your own videos? Here's what I would recommend. Because I always want to recommend things that I actually know, use, and can say oh, this is great, or oh, no, that's trash. Don't use that. So, but more than anything, and I'm going to wrap it up with this. One, you don't need a big toolbox to get started marketing your business. I have a consulting client that I'm working with, and we were talking about email marketing, and she really wants to get started with it. And I was like, well, where are you currently using it? And all of her leads come in through her website on Squarespace. Now, I will be honest, I do not love the Squarespace email feature. I don't love it. It's not my favorite. I would not recommend it. However, if you're just getting started and that's where all your stuff is, stick with it. Stick with it until you breed that consistency that you're like, okay, I want to do more with this. I need to move to another platform. You don't need a huge toolbox to get started. Think about when you buy your first apartment. You're not going to go and buy $500 of tools at Home Depot. You're probably just going to get the handyman little kit that has the impact driver or the drill and a hammer, some nails, a screwdriver. You're not going to have everything. You're not going to go straight out for the jigsaw when you're just getting started. My husband and I were together probably for 11 years before we bought our first circular saw, when we installed hardwood floors in our front room downstairs the weekend before my son started virtual schooling in fall of 2020. We're like, let's make this a great office for him. And we installed hardwood floors, and it took us all weekend. And holy hell, that is not something that I would ever do again. So know your limits, and this goes with any marketing strategy. If you know that you don't have the capacity to edit videos, but you really want to be on YouTube, is that something that you should really take on and add to your toolbox? Maybe that's something that you should outsource and find someone to manage it for you, wherein you just have to record and voila, happy edits, happy videos that are already edited. Think about your marketing in terms of what you have the capacity for. You don't need to do everything. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to have all the shiny, happy tools. It doesn't take much to market your business. These are my tools. They're all linked in the show notes. There may be some affiliate links, so if you decide to try something out. Also, sidebar, because I didn't mention it and I wanted to mention it and it wasn't on my list, and now I'm thinking about it at the end. Every business needs a CRM. Now, you can start your CRM in something like Google Sheets or Excel. That's fine too. I really like HoneyBook. I invested a lot of money into HoneyBook last year, having someone just redo my contracts and make it all look pretty and shiny. And, I just felt really professional. And I have a whole bunch of leads in there, and I really like it. Now, I will say that for the leads that are not yet in HoneyBook, who have not yet converted to a discovery call points, they are in Trello, where I track them. And that is something that I have worked with a sales coach on, is actually tracking my leads, hey, how often am I reaching out to people? All that kind of fun stuff. So that's another good use of Trello. I digress. I wanted to add that in there because cats distracted me when I was recording, and I totally forgot to mention it earlier. So CRM, some sort of social media scheduling tool. If you really, 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 really want to start basic, you can use Facebook Business Manager, but I don't recommend it. I find it clunky, and I've heard too many stories about posts being deleted or not posting when they're supposed to. So don't recommend Business Manager. And remember, we're trying to move away from social media. We're not giving our money and all of our time and energy to Meta, who is, not doing the right thing on the right side of history right now. We're going to leave it at that. Anyhow, if you have any questions or need an audit of your social media or want some advice on what tools, strategy, anything like that, I would love to chat. You can schedule a discovery call We do audits. They are like $40-something. I go through your social media platforms, your content, all that kind of fun stuff, give you some recommendations. Kind of a newish offering, but I did one recently and it was like a 30-minute video and I walked through her Instagram and everything, and I hope it was appreciated. I haven't gotten any feedback yet. So on that note, go forth, create amazing content that doesn't overwhelm you, that helps you show up authentically and consistently in your business to really grow. So that is all for now. Feel free to drop a review. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and connect with me on Instagram or Facebook or via email, all linked in the show notes. Until next time.